Blockchains are one of the most groundbreaking technologies of the last century, but they have a major problem. Everything you do on a blockchain is completely public. And if you try to use one of the most popular privacy solutions out there, you could go to jail. But what if it doesn't have to be this way? What if you could use a new privacy solution that nobody's ever seen before that's completely safe and risk-free? Well, in this video, I want to talk about a major development that's happened on this front. It promises to do exactly that, and it's making a huge buzz online. Everybody's talking about it. So I want to make this video to tell you today, as a blockchain developer myself who works with this technology on a daily basis. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish, break into the blockchain industry, work with one of the most exciting technologies, increase your salary well past 100K, I can show you how to do that over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's recap the big problem with blockchains right now. So basically, everything you do on a blockchain is public. Sure, you might have a blockchain address where, nobody knows who owns that address. But if you look at that address, you can see everything that they do on a block explorer. Like, for example, here's Vitalik.eth's address. You can see every single transaction associated with this wallet from the beginning of time on the blockchain. And sure, you might say, well, I'll just send, transactions to a different wallet and then hide the information there. But it's really easy to link wallets between one another. And sure, you could, send funds to a centralized exchange and withdraw to a fresh wallet, but that has significant risks associated with that. The exchanges themselves, we saw what happened to FTX last year, and then also, KYC user registration requirements. So we need a way to be able to do this on the blockchain without having to send it to a third-party custodial app, everything natively on chain. And that's exactly the problem that the popular privacy solution Tornado Cash aimed to solve. Okay, this was launched back in 2019. But, recently Tornado Cash was sanctioned by the US government. Lots of people who were involved in creating this were imprisoned, okay? And after this went on the US sanctions list, one consequence of this is if you're a US citizen and you use this application, then you could do jail time. So that's a complete deal breaker. And so we need a solution where you can get privacy natively on the blockchain without worrying about whether you're going to go to jail or not, okay? And so this past week, we had a paper published by several people, but one of the co-authors was Vitalik Buterin himself, the mastermind behind Ethereum, for a privacy solution that is blockchain based that's also regulatory compliant, meaning, the reasons that Tornado Cash was sanctioned by the US government, it is a solution similar to that, but it removes the grounds for this type of sanctioning, meaning that it'd be really hard for this to be deemed illegal. All right, so now let's break down exactly how this new privacy solution works so that you can understand why it's such a big deal. Okay, so first of all, let's look at how Tornado Cash works so we can differentiate the two, because you have to understand that first before you can understand how this innovates upon that design. Okay, so Tornado Cash is a privacy solution where basically it has a set of smart contracts that lives on the blockchain. Okay, so you're using a blockchain and you have a set of smart contracts where you can deposit money into it. So you can see this diagram on my screen here. You have Tornado Cash contract, you have 3 different people depositing 0.1 Ether into it, okay? So what this does is it lets you deposit money with your blockchain address and then withdraw from a different address on the other side with something called a zero-knowledge proof, where it makes it very, very, very hard, in most cases, nearly impossible to associate the withdrawer from the depositor, because everybody's depositing the same amount of money and you don't have a linked transaction between the two wallets. So basically, if you want to have private, transactions, what you do is you fund your wallet, you can deposit into this privacy solution, and then you withdraw it on the other side, and now you have a fresh wallet and you have really no idea who funded that. And then you can do all those transactions without linking it back to any other identity. Now, the problem with this design is the very reason that Tornado Cash was sanctioned, because, there was no way to prove who the withdrawer was from the depositor. So you had all these people who were doing these hacks in crypto, like these DeFi exploits, and taking millions and millions and millions of dollars. They were essentially washing their funds through Tornado Cash and withdrawing them to new addresses so that you couldn't necessarily determine who the hacker was, and they could, take the money and increase the chance that they could get away with it. And so basically lawmakers saw this and instituted a massive crackdown on this application and said, hey, nobody can use it because we don't know if you're a hacker or not if you're doing this. At least that's the gist. But this new privacy solution and this paper that's co-authored by Vitalik Buterin takes a very similar model and takes it to the next level to where when you're using this, you can actually prove that you are not a hacker. And that's why this is such a big deal. So let's take a look at how it works. So with everything that I was talking about with Tornado Cash, everybody depositing into this main contract here and then withdrawing on the other side, this is what's called an anonymity set, which basically means we have all these people depositing the same thing. They all deposit the same amount of money. It's really hard to know who's who in the anonymity set when you're drawing from the other side. Well, this new solution basically lets you take these anonymity sets and break them into smaller groups so that you can prove you're a part of a set that doesn't contain transactions from the hacker with zero knowledge proofs. So let me explain how that works. So first of all, let's talk about zero knowledge proofs. So basically this is a cryptographic technique where you can prove certain information without revealing the information itself. This has lots of different applications in blockchain, but this is a really good one that you need to understand. So fundamentally, how does the zero knowledge proof work? Well, basically the classic example is like understanding a Where's Waldo image, okay? So let's say that you have a picture and you're trying to say, hey, where's Waldo in this picture? And I want you to prove to me that you found Waldo without revealing Waldo's location. Well, you could just point to Waldo, but that's not good because you're just showing me where Waldo is. You're not just proving that you found Waldo. So what you could do is you could basically get a cutout of Waldo, all right, the exact image of Waldo without showing where he is and give it back to me. And that would prove that you found Waldo without showing where Waldo was, hence a zero knowledge proof. Now, this new privacy solution uses zero knowledge proofs to prove that you were a valid part of a set that doesn't include illicit funds. And this is way better than what Tornado Cash had implemented. So basically, Tornado Cash had a way of showing that you were compliant. Basically, if you did all this and you want to withdraw the other side, you could prove that you weren't, one of the bad guys, so to speak, but it had a pretty suboptimal strategy, whereas you would basically have to reveal your entire transaction history to a third party to show that you weren't part of that, illicit anonymity set. So that's really defeats the purpose of privacy in the first place, but this works completely differently. So it uses the zero knowledge proofs that I'm talking about to show that you weren't part of the funds or a subset of the funds that included the hacker, but you don't know exactly who you were in that set. So for example, let's say that you had, 100 people deposit into a privacy pool. So let's go back to this. This has got 3 people. Let's say it's 100 people. And of those 100 people who deposited, you know that, 10 of the deposits were from a bad actor, let's say a hacker, okay? That means that 90 of the deposits we know were not from a bad actor, okay? And so what you can do in this case is you can submit a cryptographic proof that says, hey, I am one of the 90 transactions that is not from one of the hackers. I'm not gonna tell you who I was in that set, but I can prove cryptographically, without a doubt, that I am one of those 90 people and not one of these 10 deposits over here. And that's why this tech is such a big deal and how it's different from Tornado Cash, because now there's no argument to say that, hey, I'm just, one of these people. You can't prove that I'm not a bad guy in this case. And you can always prove that you were at least a neutral or good actor in this case and not one of the bad guys. And that's something that Tornado Cash really hadn't cracked without having to reveal your entire transaction history to a third party in order to prove such things. And so that's exactly what's detailed inside this paper, okay? That's published by several different people. Again, Vitalik Buterin is one of the ones that I mentioned because he's so notable. I want to give credit where credit's due. So there's several other people who are co-authors on this, like Jacob Ilum from Chainalysis, Matthias Nadler, Fabian Schar, and Amin Salamani. And if you want to follow the developments of this type of project, this is the thing that's getting implemented with privacypools.com. So you can go on here and just see what's happening on this page. You can see the explorer of different transactions that are starting to implement this type of thing. So it's a great way to stay up with the developments of these type of projects. We're actually implementing these pools now. And the other big deal about this is that we're launching this in the middle of this crypto bear market while the space is quiet. And that's when we're seeing all this new technology get shipped and adopted while a lot of people are not paying attention to this space. And this is one example of something that'll be available to lots of people whenever the technology inevitably booms in the future. And so if you want to get ahead of the next crypto expansion, then what can you do? Well, as always, you can smash that like button down below, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. You're gonna see more videos just like this talking about exciting technology that's coming out in the crypto space while really no one else is watching. And the best thing that you can do right now is double down on your technical skills and get ahead of that next wave. And so how can you do that? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those videos and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You really don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.